Hi guys, it's Michelle from Scrap Secrets and welcome to another crafty video. So in this video we're going to be making a birthday card for my mom using some products from The Ton as well as Mama Elephant, and the inks we're going to be using are My Favorite Things and Hero Arts. We're also going to be using some glitter tape, and I think that's it. I think that's pretty much it. Alright, so let's get started. So this is the stamp set that we're going to be using. This is the Ton's Grand Bows, and I've tried to do this one before and I've totally screwed it up, so we're going to try again. So I've been practicing, so we're going to use the large bow to create like a present front. So let me just show you guys my mistakes so you can laugh at me, or laugh with me, not at me, because I am laughing too. This is the first bow, and clearly I did not line it up very well. This is the second one I did. A little bit better, getting there. Third one, pretty well. Then I decided to try the smaller bow. I think this was the medium, no, this is the medium size one. I don't remember, but didn't work, and I just said, forget it. Let's just go ahead and go with the large bow, have it lined up. I did just try to stamp this, just a warning, and I stamped it on a smaller piece of paper. I have a larger piece of cardstock that I just had as a scrap. I tried to stamp this one and it didn't line up, and I couldn't figure out what I had to do, so I started all over again. So this is the second attempt at me making this video. Probably not going to be the last one either. So the two inks that we're going to be using for the bow are the Hero Arts Soft Granite. This is the bottom color for the more solid image. And then the Hero Arts Mid-Tone Charcoal ink will be for the less solid image. So let me show you guys what it's going to look like. This is the first one that I did, and I used the Brother Scan and cut it out with no border, and you can see these were little white pieces here where it kind of got cut off. So what I decided to do was kind of add a border around it, and this is 0.08 I believe, and it came out a little bit too with a little bit too much of a border, so I think if we do 0.04 it'll work out. So we're gonna try that one. So let's get started with inking this up. And why I like using the Misty for stamps like this is if you don't get a good impression the first time, then you can restamp it in the exact same spot, and it's so much easier. Plus, if you were doing multiple cards for this, like if you were doing this for your Christmas cards or for some birthday cards for people that you just wanted to kind of get ahead of the game, this is perfect because it's in your Misty already, and you can just stamp away, change colors, and keep stamping the bows, and then cut them out, use the coordinating dies, use a Brother Scan and cut, use your scissors. This one wouldn't be too hard to cut out with scissors, but I just wanted to show you guys how the Brother Scan and cut works, because I know a couple people have asked me about it. Okay, so here is the image. This is the first layer. So then we're going to flip it around, and hopefully I did this right and it should line up. So let's put the bar magnets back. Let's make sure it does line up. Okay, so I don't know what I did last time, but I definitely did not do that. So charcoal is the next color, and we're probably just going to ink this up once. Just because this image is not as solid as the last one. The last one I had to get all the little nooks and crannies so that it would look right. And these dry back softer than the image initially stamps. Oh, I love it. So what I probably should have done was stamp two of them so I could do two bows. So let's just do that real quick. I'm going to stamp out a second one while I have the stamps out. And I was just telling you guys, this is what you should do, and I don't go ahead and do it. So let's just do that fairly quickly. Get it all lined up, and then we will go through the Brother Scan and cut and have that work its magic. Okay, so let's do this other one. See, it doesn't take too long to do this, but it does help that, you know, you're using your Misty and things are lined up. But now I don't want to take these out of the Misty. I want to keep these in there because I don't want to have to try to line this thing up again. It's probably user error. It's probably totally me that just can't figure it out. But okay, so now I'm going to bring you guys over with me. I hope I don't get you guys a little dizzy, so I'm just going to kind of walk over here real quick. So now you can see this is the Brother Scan and Cut. It's over here. And hopefully you guys are going to be able to see what I'm doing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place the image on my mat. And then we're going to load it in. There's a button up here that looks like the mat, and you're just going to load it in there. Comes with a little stylus. So I'm going to hit scan, and then direct cut, and then you're going to hit the machine. Alright, so then you're going to hit start stop, which is just going to run the mat through the machine so that it will scan your images. So we can do this one of two ways. We can actually cut both of the images at the same time, or we can just pick one of the images to cut and see how that cuts out and see if we need to change the borders. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do just that. I'm going to cut one at a time. So we're going to move this all the way up to the top here, so that just that image is selected. Then you hit OK, and it's going to recognize it, and it's going to show you how it's going to cut out. So there is like a little button that you can go in, and you can see the image a little bit better. I don't know if you guys can see this. Sorry, the time is right over it. So it's showing me that the image, but it is cutting out the little pieces. So what I want to do is I want to go to the circle with the lines, and it shows me the outline distance. So in here I want to put 04. So and then I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm going to hit OK again, and it's processing, and now I can either draw the image or cut the image. Since this is a stamped image, I want to cut the image, and it's going to process, and it's going to tell me how long. So it's going to say 1 minute, and then there's this green button that says start stop. I'm going to hit that, and it's going to go around and cut my image out. So now that that's done, I'm going to gently peel this off. And it still cut out this piece right here. I don't love that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back in, and we're going to, let's see, we're going to go backwards, and it says frame the image. So we're going to go down and do the bottom image here. Okay. And then we're going to hit OK, because we haven't taken the mat off of this anywhere. It's in the exact same spot, so it's going to know exactly where it is. If you did happen to take the mat out, you would just rescan everything. So again, we're going to hit OK because it's done, and then we're going to hit the circle that has the 2 arrows pointing at it, and we're going to do 0.8, which is what I did before, and then you're going to hit OK again, and we're going to hit cut. It's going to say the same thing. It's going to take a minute, which it doesn't. Anything that's under a minute will always say a minute. So this one will give us a little bit more of a border, and then we won't have that like cutout line here. So again, this is all trial and error. And perfect. This is how it comes out. So now I can hit this, I can hit OK because it's finished, and unload the mat, and yes, I want to unload the mat. So it does ask you if you want to unload it before it does unload, so that you can make sure that you don't have any other images that you've already scanned that you need. Okay, so let's go back over here, and let's work on the remainder of the project. So we have the bow cut out right now, and remember this is 0.08. 04 cut out the cut out pieces of the bow still. So, which is fine. I just didn't know that that's what it would do. We are going to be using, let's see, I'm trying to see what other, because I want to use, I think what I wanted to use is this donuts background by the ton. And let's just see. All right, let's use this. So this is the Tim Holtz Tonic Studios platform. So if you guys have never seen this before, this is the stamp piece, and there's 2 sides. There's a clear side and there's a rubber side. Since this is a red rubber stamp, I'm going to use the red rubber, or the rubber side. So we're going to take the background stamp out, and I think what I'm going to do, because this one is more difficult to use magnets in, what we're going to do is we're actually going to use a Zig 2-way glue pen that's almost dead, and we are going to put just a teeny tiny bit of glue on the back of it to hold it into place on here. This one actually probably doesn't even have anything left in it. It's so white. This one may have a little bit. Yeah, this one looks like it has a little bit in here. This may not even do anything. I just wanted to get it so it stays in place just in case we had to do this more than once, because we're not going to be able to use the magnets on this one. This is the only thing I don't like about this one, is that you can't use the magnets you can for other things, but when you use a big background stamp like this, it's hard. You need to have a larger, you need to have like a full piece of cardstock. So this is the red rubber side, and you can tell because the side that's on top is what stamp you should have. So it should say rubber if it's up here if it's the red rubber, or clear up here if it's a clear stamp. So we are going to do a soft gray image behind this. I was thinking about pink, but I decided to do the grout gray. So we're going to ink up the back of the stamp. And the other thing that I don't like about this is, see how this top is staying in here? I don't know if you can see it. Because there's no foam pad or anything behind this, the ink does get on the background. So I try to wipe it up as fast as possible, but some inks will stain. So we're going to do this. I don't believe that Tim Holtz sells this anymore. There was a lawsuit with Misty and all of the other manufacturers of stamp positioners like this had to lost the lawsuit. So I don't believe they're making any of these anymore. I don't know when the last date for that was. I found this at Hobby Lobby a while ago, and I do like it for certain things. I just don't feel like it stamps as well as the Misty. I do like that it gives you the option of the red rubber. You don't have to, you just turn the top. You don't have to take the piece out of it like you have to do in the Misty. So I do like that, and I do like this handle part here. I turn it around to show you guys. This little handle part makes it easy to open when it's on the red rubber side. However, when it's on the clear side, it's a little bit more difficult because it lines up with this end piece here, so it doesn't really help you flip it up. So again, there's always good and bad to everything. I don't know if I'm just missing this spot, and I don't feel like this stamps as well as some of the other stamp positioning tools. I just don't think that it has enough cushion to let it stamp as well as some of the other ones. So, and this is a very, very light ink. Oh, shoot, I used the wrong one. Good thing that I checked before I did that. And it's hard to see it on here. But maybe we should have gone with a darker color ink. Maybe the soft granite would have been better. I was just kind of trying to keep it like a subtle, almost like a tone-on-tone background. But it is hard to see on the stamp where this is inked up if you're using the light gray. Let me see. What did I do with the bow? Is that? No, I just want to see. I put that there. Will it cover it? And what did I do with the bow that I cut out? It's got to be around here somewhere. This is part of my problem, is that I put things down, I lose them all the time. Lose things all the time when I'm crafting. My craft room is such a mess. I had my nieces the other night, and my niece was it was funny. I was putting them to bed, and my niece was saying that I told her I had to go back to work because I needed to, you know, make sure that I could pay for my house. And she said that she didn't like my new house. She thought I was getting another one. I said, why? She said, because your house is messy. I said, no, it's just they just come down here. They don't generally go upstairs, so they only see the craft room mess. So they think that they think everything looks like the craft room does. And it used to, but now everything is has been cleaned up. I have cleaners that come in every other week, so I have been able to keep the house clean, but the craft room is not clean. So this might just be the very, very last one. I might just give up after this. For some reason, this just isn't it's not stamping the way that I wanted it to, and I feel like getting a lot of ink where it doesn't belong. Alright, you know what? I'm going to go over it one time with this shadow, the darker ink that I used for the bow. And hopefully this will help it stamp down. Again, I just think that it's partially, this is a large background stamp and you do have to put a lot of pressure against it. But I also think partially it's because, like, even with the darker ink, I think there's, I don't know, I just think that this doesn't give as great of an impression as some of the other ones. So we'll just put the bow over top of that piece. So, okay, so now I'm going to wipe off the excess ink, just trying not to get anything on the cardstock. So this is kind of taped down pretty good. Or just kind of using my scissors to pry up the corners a little bit. This is, that ink will not, it's repositionable once it's dry. So put this over to the side. So then the next thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to take some of this. So I'm going to line it up so that we can figure out kind of where the middle is. I don't need it to be exact, but I'm going to take my scissors. I'm going to cut enough off of this because we're going to wrap it around. Whatever excess. So this just has sticky behind it, which is pretty cool. So, but I have nails, so it might take me a minute to get this off. But this just has a sticky back to it. This was from Michael's and it was on clearance, I think. I did this. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it because I'm awful with measurements and things like that. So that's all we're going to do, and then we're going to take this. I'm going to do the same thing, just enough so that I can wrap the ends around so I don't have to worry about cutting right on the edge. Plus, I've had this stuff forever, and I'm finally using it. My sister-in-law actually was doing her bulletin board, and she asked me if I happen to have glitter, like gold glitter tape, and I'm like, of course I do. So she came over and she took a couple rolls from me, and then she brought it back, and I was kind of like, you could have kept it. I have so many. I think I gave her like 4 rolls. Some of them were a little bit used and then other ones weren't, and I think she gave me like 1 or 2 rolls back, and I still have a couple rolls because when I tend to see things on clearance that I'm like, oh, I definitely can use that, I buy a bunch of them, and then eventually I'll use them. So this one, we'll put it up here so it kind of looks like a present, and then it'll hide some of that, the stuff that didn't get stamped also well. And then the next thing you want to do is you can either cut these off at the end, but I actually like to just fold them over, that way I know that nothing will happen to them, and then when we glue them down, they'll be stuck down, so you don't have to worry about the edges coming off. So doesn't that look so cute? And then I know this one isn't it. I'm gonna find the real one. I don't know what I did with it, but this is the top. And then I just did a base here. So it's dark, a little bit lighter than the pink. I just thought that looked really pretty. I think I like the colors of the gray and the pink together. So we are going to use the ATG gun. And this one has the non-acid free tape in here. This is the one that I use for cards. I have the other one that has the white tape that is acid free that you can use for scrapbooking. So like I said, this is a 1/4 of an inch smaller than the card base. And then I'm going to take the insides and we're going to use the stamps from Mom Elephant. This is the birthday wishes stamp, and then this one says happy birthday, and this says to a person that's charming, talented, witty, and reminds me a lot of myself. Because my mom is very witty. And I have inherited some of her quirks, shall we say. Like I will be reading something and I'll notice right away that if there's a misspelling in there or something, and so I send her a message every time. I'm like, thanks a lot for that, because that's one thing she always picks up on, misspellings and things that just, like when you're reading a book, she would have been like the perfect editor, because she goes through a book and she'll be like, oh, I found a misspelling, or that's the wrong word. So, and she's very clever with things. So I'm grabbing just another piece of paper, a piece of cardstock, and I'm cutting it down to 5 1/4 by 4 inches so that we can do the inside. We can do the sentiment on the inside. And I think that I'm going to do it in the gray. So I'm actually going to pull out the not the Misty, because the Misty has the bow in it, but we're going to pull out the Tim Holtz one, and we're going to use this one. I'm actually going to use the magnet for. Just kind of put it in place and then put the happy birthday down. Just make sure this is kind of just center everything. I think this happy birthday might have been meant to be used on the front of a card because it's so big, but I like that it covers up, that it really just kind of does the whole front of a card, but you can also use it on the inside. So I think we're going to use not the charcoal, we're going to use the soft gray ink, soft granite, because I think the other ink is a little bit too light. And I'm sorry if this is shaking. Okay. And we're going to ink it up again because I didn't get a great stamped impression the first time. And this is what I love about these stamping tools. Again, you can stamp over and over again in the exact same spots, as long as your magnets hold things down. I hope this held it down in the exact same spot. Yep. So we're going to try 1 or 2 more times. Like I said, this one I really do not think, I know I keep saying it, I really don't think that this gives a great stamped impression. I think that the other ones have more foam, a little bit more give to it. So, and it could also be because I'm stamping on a harder surface. Sometimes you need something with, I have like a mat, a Heidi Swap mat that sometimes I use underneath this, but it's just on the other side of the room. So we're probably going to need 1 more stamp. And this is a color scheme that I'm starting to really love, the gray and the pink. I don't usually do too much of this, but I really like it. So, oh, and my cat is trying to, I don't know if you can see her down here, she's trying to jump up onto the table. She wants to be part of this. This is Lucy. You can see her. Say hi, Luce. Okay. 1 more time. It's so hard to make cards on camera because I always feel like I'm a little bit rushed, and if things don't come out right the first time, like if it's just me, I just scrap it or start over. And with this, it's a little bit harder because I'm trying to get everything on camera. Do them myself. See, and now that stamped image got a little bit too it's hard when you stamp more than a couple times. Sometimes the ink gets a little messed up. So there it is. So I'm just going to, I may have to redo this part, but I'm just going to put this on the inside, and then her card, oops, not like that. And then this is not the final bow, but once I find it, again, I'm so scatterbrained today, I'm sorry guys, but I did want to show you guys how to use the Brother Scan and Cut. So that's how you stamp out an image, use the Brother Scan and Cut, and then use some of the stamping tools to create a card. So I know this one was a little bit long. It was about 26 minutes. Thank you guys for sticking with me, and hopefully you stuck with me through the whole thing and got some good ideas out of this, how you can, color scheme, mixing and matching different companies' products, and how to use some different products. Hopefully you can still find the Tim Holtz stamp platform if you guys want it. If not, I would out of all of the stamping tools that I have, I would recommend the Misty the most, if you guys can find that, and I know that it comes in multiple sizes. So just wanted to show you guys some different products and how to use them. Hopefully you learned something, and I will be back soon for another video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!